one of the things I have to be careful of is to not project patriarchy into my husband all the time. Now, that doesn't mean that he is not actively deconstructing patriarchy just like I am. But, I'm so used to men just operating under like patriarchal thinking without even realizing it. So I'm just going to assume that that's what's happening. And really, sometimes it's not at all what's happening. So let me give you an example. By the way, I'm in look at this. We are dog sitting for my my father and mother-in-law in the little village that Anthony grew up in. Look at that. I love this. Look at that. Yeah, tiny village near Lyon. So anyway, last night we were trying to get my bike on a bike rack that we just bought so that we can bring my bike up here, because my bike it's everything to me. I love riding my bike. It doesn't do damage to my joints, and it gives me, it's more for my spirit, if anything. Because if you haven't noticed yet, I have a ton of energy, and if I don't get it out of me, then I'm a mess, and it becomes self-destructive sometimes. So anyway, we're trying to get, oh my God, look, they're saying hi. But bonjour. Look at that. Oh, it's like a baby. Oh, bisou. Mo's no. Anyway, come to find out, the bike rack is not really the right one, or it's made for a men's bike. So, and Anthony and I had a really long day. And, this whole thing took way longer than we thought. We spent an hour getting this bike thing on. And I kept being like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's just go. We don't need the bike thing. Meow. We're going to go back by the horse. It's fine. I'll just go on hikes. There's plenty of way for me to get all this energy out, and see stuff. And he was determined to do it. And I'm thinking, this is just toxic masculinity, which is not. He's like the least toxically masculine man I think I've ever met. There's one reason why I married him, among other reasons. There they are. Bye-bye. Salut. And at one point he hit his head on the rack and was like, oh, And the thing is that he's actually teaching me how to be okay with feeling feelings, getting in touch with my feelings, expressing my feelings. Because I have been so disassociated from having feelings at all for most of my life. I don't even know how to do it. I'm all like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Let's go. Whereas he's working more on being very intentional about how he, just more thoughtful about the way, when and how he expresses his feelings, right? And I think that a lot of men are working on that, and a lot of women, because of patriarchy and how we're all conditioned, are learning how to be able to be things other than, to be mad instead of cry. Oh, look at that. I just love that. Anyway, so I'm ready to give up. And I'm not a quitter, but I have a really hard time with people's emotions, my codependency and whatever, and I just want them to shut up. Just shut up. Let's just stop, because I'm uncomfortable. And that's what I've had to learn with unlearn or work on with my codependency, is to let people have their feelings, not try to fix them. Why do you think I became a comedian? I am sure my codependency is behind that. Besides being a second child, which means I literally was born or brought into the world to entertain another child. But also that has been a big trauma response, is humor. And that's also how I have just learned to deal with everything. And also it's a part of my people pleasing. Make you laugh. I can make anybody laugh usually. And it works. But in doing so, I don't let myself or other people, or don't want other people to have big, strong emotions that are not things, or that are things that make me uncomfortable. And that is a lot of my whiteness. And especially as a white woman born in the South, everything's supposed to be like this. Hey, oh no, everything's fine. I'm just going to stab you behind your back. So anyway, he just he won't let it go. He's determined to get it on, which, and again, I'm not usually a quitter, but because of him and his big emotions, I immediately shut down. I'm done. I don't care about the bike. Let's just take it back. I don't ever need a bike again, which is not me. If I'm by myself, I'm like, I'm very determined. But, freaking codependency. So anyway, we finally figured out. Now it works. We had to be very creative and clever in how we got this bike attached. Especially it's a Dutch bike or whatever. So so I can have a dress on, or I don't know. So we get up to his parents' house, and finally I'm like, I really appreciate you got her done, because I gave up, which is really unlike me, but I'm sorry I was frustrated. And kind of, shutting down because of your emotions. He's like, yeah, I know, babe. I know. That's why I just kept staying on course. But all I think of is this bike means everything to me. And it does. I've had my bike stolen twice since living in France. If you haven't lived in France if you haven't gotten your stuff stolen, especially your bike. And so, oh look, there's the thing. And so he was just like, I want your mental health to be okay. I know it's important to you. And so that's what I kept thinking, is this bike. Now let me tell you one of my other trauma reactions that was happening. This is not the first time we've had issues with this bike and him really trying to get this bike to wherever we're going and then it not working out somehow. And then me like being frustrated because he's frustrated. And then me like, this is what this is rooted in. When I dated my dad was like this too, by the way, but I'll just give you an example from my ex. My, violent ex used to do things for me that had nothing to do with me. And then if I didn't appreciate those things, I'd get punished. And he would, even bought me some of the dumbest gifts, right? That I'm like, oh, does he even know me? But if I didn't appreciate them, here comes the rage. And even like one of my most embarrassing stories as a domestic violence survivor or whatever is, sorry, I don't mean to mock that. You guys can hear all my IFS voices popping up when I'm telling these stories. Anyway, is when my ex, went so far out of his way to make elk soup for me. I was vegetarian. I don't even eat elk. I don't eat anything. But he went out of his way to make it for me. And then I was like, but I don't really want to eat it. And I ate it because his tantrums and his quiet rage or his, silent treatments or any of that stuff is not worth, just suck it up and eat it. And honestly, eating elk soup and watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, that was one of my lowest points in that relationship. Lowest points. I was like, who am I? I hate Ninja Turtles. It's stupid. There's a rat and they're obsessed with pizza. Why are they named after Italians? Like, I don't know. Anyway, and I was, because that's the other thing he got me to do. I went to jail, kid jail, for, so I don't really do it very much anymore, okay? But with him, when I dated him, I did it every day because that's what they do. So anytime Anthony does something nice for me or does something thoughtful or does something for me because it's important to him, look. Ah, boom, my God. Okay, sorry. Anytime he does something for me, and if it doesn't go right or if he gets frustrated at any point, I'm like, he's doing it for him. He's not doing it for me. Like that's where I go because so many men are like this. So my dad was like this. My ex was like this. Like so many men are like this where they don't do anything for us. They do stuff for them to get stuff later. It's transactional or if it's a means of, manipulation or control or a way to punish you because they know you won't like it. And then they have something over you, right? It's so messed up. I'm going to talk with this in the background so you can see. So anyway, and whether it's me projecting like, oh, this is patriarchy or toxic masculinity, or it's me projecting my ex onto my husband, at the end of the day, what was very clear and what is consistently clear through our relationship is that things that he really wants me to be happy, y'all. He does. And if he has any emotion that's not happy, then I just assume, no, none of that's true. And that is why I talk a lot about how, the real healing for me wasn't after I left that abusive relationship and staying set. The real healing, not real, but the next level of this messed up video game is learning how to not project everything onto this man. How to, see where these voices are coming from, what they're really about, is what's true, what's not true. Because that is that's the long-term damage of this. You don't know what's true anymore. When you have been gaslit for most of your life, whether if it's from your father or your boyfriends or your bosses or whoever, or society at large under patriarchy, you don't know what's true. And it's exhausting trying to see what it is. And so while I'm doing that, I'm trying really hard not to cause damage on him, even though he never sees it that way. He gets it. Thank God he gets it. But God, y'all, it's so tiring. Oh, look, there's my dog taking a dump. Mouse. The sweet baby. Anyway, more footage from up in these parts this week.